What if the best way to watch Spider-Noir is actually in black and white? Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. One of the most unique things about Spider-Noir is that Sony is reportedly giving fans two different viewing options: a full black and white noir version and a standard color version. And ever since that reveal, fans have been debating one huge question: which version is actually better? At first, watching a Spider-Man series completely in black and white might sound strange. But the more details we learn about Spider-Noir's dark detective atmosphere, 1930s setting, and noir-inspired cinematography, the more it starts to feel like black and white could actually be the definitive way to experience the show. In today's video, we're breaking down the pros and cons of both versions, how the noir aesthetic changes the experience, and whether Spider-Noir in color might accidentally ruin some of the atmosphere Sony is trying to create. And honestly, the answer may surprise a lot of people. So stick around till the end, because this might become one of the most unique Spider-Man projects ever made. Spider-Noir is streaming on Prime Video in two completely different formats: authentic black and white and True-Hue Full Color. While other movies like Mad Max Fury Road, Nightmare Alley, and Godzilla -1 later received black and white editions after their original releases, Spider-Noir is doing something much more unusual by releasing both versions at the exact same time. Naturally, this has created one huge debate among fans: which version should you actually watch? Honestly, the answer is probably black and white. The title itself is Spider-Noir, and the character has always been heavily inspired by classic noir storytelling. In fact, one of the funniest running jokes in Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse was Spider-Man Noir being confused by the colors on a Rubik's Cube, because he literally comes from a black and white world. The series clearly draws inspiration from classic noir detective films from the 1940s and 1950s, while its 1930s setting also references older gangster movies, monster films, and German expressionist cinema that helped shape the dark visual style of noir storytelling. Even Nicolas Cage reportedly designed his performance specifically around the black and white presentation. According to Cage, the acting style, atmosphere, and overall tone were created to feel like an authentic old-school noir film. And visually, the black and white version simply looks incredible. The cinematography makes excellent use of shadows, lighting, and contrast, creating a much darker and more cinematic atmosphere. Even the visual effects appear more polished and believable in monochrome. Because of that, the authentic black and white version honestly feels like the true intended version of Spider-Noir. Meanwhile, the color version seems more like an alternative option for viewers who are less interested in classic black and white storytelling styles. At the end of the day, both versions may still tell the same story, but the black and white presentation appears to capture the full noir experience that the creators originally wanted audiences to feel. To be fair, a lot of effort was clearly put into the color version of Spider-Noir. The creators did not simply add normal modern colors over the show. Instead, the color grading uses an intentionally exaggerated and old-school style designed to resemble early Technicolor films and classic comic-inspired noir visuals. Some viewers have even compared the look to older movies like Dick Tracy, because of its highly stylized and saturated appearance. According to showrunner Oren Uziel, the color version was partially inspired by old colorized editions of classic black and white movies. But honestly, that is also where the biggest problem begins. Those old colorized films often looked slightly unnatural and visually strange, and Spider-Noir intentionally recreates that same uncomfortable feeling. The color version heavily pushes exaggerated orange and teal tones, to the point where even shadows and dark scenes start looking distorted. As a result, certain scenes become visually overwhelming. Gunfights, flashing lights, and action moments can feel almost too intense because of the aggressive color effects. Instead of enhancing the noir atmosphere, the color sometimes distracts from it and removes some of the subtle visual storytelling. One example many fans point to is Sandman's first major scene, played by Jack Houston. In black and white, his powers look mysterious, eerie, and genuinely intimidating. But in the color version, some of that atmosphere gets lost because the visual effects become too distracting. And perhaps the biggest clue about the intended viewing experience comes from the opening credits themselves. Even in the full-color version of Spider-Noir, the opening title sequence still remains entirely black and white. the creators apparently understood that the graphic noir design would lose much of its impact if heavily colorized. There is even a lyric in the theme song that says, "The colors fading from the photograph," which almost feels like the show quietly telling viewers that black and white is the true intended experience. At the end of the day, the color version may still be interesting to watch, but the black and white presentation clearly feels more cinematic, atmospheric, and authentic to the spirit of Spider-Noir. Alright guys, that's why a lot of fans already believe Spider-Noir is best experienced in black and white instead of color. Even though the color version definitely has a unique and stylized look, the black and white presentation just feels much more authentic to the noir atmosphere, classic detective inspirations, and darker cinematic style the creators were clearly aiming for. From the lighting and shadows to Nicolas Cage's performance and even the opening credits, almost everything about Spider-Noir seems designed around that classic monochrome experience. But now I want to hear from you guys. Which version are you planning to watch? The authentic black and white version, or the True-Hue Full Color version? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss any future Spider-Man breakdowns, reviews, and theories. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.